Hey everyone, I've got 7 life lessons I learned after turning 50. Or you could call this 7 things you need to know entering your 50s. This list is great for men and women, and stick through to the end because each and every point on here is equally as important, in my opinion and in my experience. I want to welcome you to my channel, This Gen X Life, where I talk about optimizing our life, our time, and our money. I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel and also leave me a comment below. Introduce yourself. Let me know what you think of this video, and we'll get into it. Okay, everyone, before I get into the list, I just want to let you know that I will soon be 58 years old. And these 7 items on this list, they're not things that I researched online. They're not things that I Googled. These are 7 personal things that I experienced. Going through your 50s is different. It was very different for me. It was probably almost as tumultuous at times as maybe going through my adolescent years. So, as I said earlier, turning 50 was unlike any other age for me. I began questioning everything in my life up to that point. My body was doing strange and scary things, and even the way that I had managed my life up to that point wasn't cutting it anymore. It was like a new growth stage inside and out. Turning 50 requires a different set of tools than the ones we've used in previous decades. And not only are things changing internally and externally, but it's also a period of life that many of us experience huge life circumstances as well, such as empty nest syndrome. As I said earlier, a lot of hormonal changes occur at this time. Some of us may be dealing with divorce, ailing parents, caregiving, loneliness, loss of loved ones, financial setbacks, critical health diagnoses, and need I go on? So let's get into the list. Number 1, get a regular doctor, not an emergency clinic or just a gynecologist for us women. Get a regular doctor that can start building some history on you that you can go to each year and get some blood work done. This is the age when some of those blood work numbers will start creeping up on you if they haven't already. They did for me. It's nice to have a doctor that you can get in that knows a little bit of your history, those strange things that are happening to our bodies at this time in our lives. Sometimes peace of mind can come from just getting a doctor's appointment. That's number 1. Number 2, we have to get serious about the foods and the diet that we're eating at this point in our lives. What we got by with decades before, it's really going to start catching up with us at this point. Eat more fruits and vegetables and less super processed foods. You know what foods are good for you. I'm not going to sit here and tell you all the foods that are good for you. You know, I know what food is best for our bodies. And if we can start incorporating that in more and more and less of the junk food, our bodies are definitely going to appreciate that. And those blood work numbers that I mentioned earlier, you can reverse those with just the right diet in a lot of cases. Number 3, build as much muscle as you can. For adults that don't strength train, they can lose 4 to 6 pounds of muscle each decade, and that's a lot. But I'm here to tell you that all adults can build muscle at any age. Doesn't matter where you're starting from. Build as much as you can now. Muscles help us with all of our daily activities: dressing, cleaning, walking. They can help prevent us from falling. If we start building muscle up now, that'll take us into our 50s and 60s and beyond. I promise you won't regret it. So, that is one of my most important tips. Build that muscle up. Number 4, the time has come to start correcting those bad habits. Decades of bad habits, such as bad sleep habits, being a couch potato, smoking, drinking. We know that they're catching up with us day by day, but especially at this milestone in our life, entering our 50s. I mean, what better milestone than turning 50 than to finally kick whatever bad habit it is that you want to kick? And if you're like me, maybe there are multiple bad habits that you want to kick. So I think turning 50, entering our 50s, is a great way to reverse some of those bad habits, do our body a favor. Number 5, address stress. Find a way to manage stress. Turning 50, stress does not get any easier to manage. Maybe we've learned some ways to deal with it, but as I said earlier, there are a lot of life circumstances that start coming around at this age, things that we've not had to deal with before that we will be faced with. You're not able to just pile on stress after stress after stress like we did in our 30s. We have to start dealing with it, finding ways to deal with it. Everybody's different. So find the way that works for you. And women, I'm here to tell you that when menopause comes along, you're having a hot flash. Any undealt with stress, it will rear its ugly head at that time. I'm just saying. Number 6, stop putting off saving for retirement. And I've said this in several other videos that I've done. I've shared my experiences of how I was always saving for retirement. In my 20s and 30s, I cashed out some 401ks. I wasn't really serious. I was just putting in the bare minimum. But when I turned 50, I really got serious about it because it starts becoming real, and you realize that maybe you don't want to work the rest of your life. Maybe you do, but in my case, I realized that I don't want to work the rest of my life, and I've got to get busy saving now. And if you're taking big vacations and helping to pay for your kids' college education and you're not saving for retirement, then it's time to get serious. You've got to find a way to put that money away. You can do a lot of investment growth in a decade. You'd be amazed at what you can do if you just start putting in. And if all you can do is $10 a month, then that's fine. Put $10 a month in. At least you are saving something and you can watch it grow. Number 7, and this one might be the most important of all. That's why I saved it to last. But be prepared for an identity crisis as you go through your 50s. It might not happen the day you turn 50, but I think for most people it does happen in this decade. And I don't know, do we blame it on menopause? Is it a midlife crisis? Is it the fact that we're used to being a mom with kids in the house and now they're gone? Are we used to our parents taking care of themselves, and now all of a sudden we're faced with the role of being a caregiver, something we'd never really thought about? There are a lot of identity shifts that happen at this stage in our life, and it happened for me. And some of those were a little hard for me to accept, and I didn't really surrender to them, and it made life a lot more difficult until I finally um, realized that this is the way life is going to be at this point. So I think that we all need to be prepared for that. Um, it's going to happen, and they're not all bad things. Some of them are really good things, but it's a growth transition that we go through. And just like when we're adolescents, sometimes we protest internally and externally against those changes because we don't know what that means. What is the uncertainty that maybe that change is bringing along? But be prepared for it, and I wish you all the best. So I hope this list has been helpful to you. And if you like these kinds of videos, please subscribe. Please leave me a comment, hit the like button. I really appreciate it. And I will catch you in the next video. See you then.